Hello and welcome to the AI Affairs podcast. Today we're doing a deep dive into a problem that, really defines our current digital world.
Hmm.
And that's the sheer sophistication of synthetic content. We're in this place where AI can generate hyper-realistic faces, text that's basically indistinguishable from human writing, and
And social engineering attacks, highly
right.
targeted, dangerously effective ones.
Exactly.
And the stakes couldn't be higher. I mean, organizations all over the globe are just grappling with fraud, misinformation, you name it.
We see the numbers.
Right, and the numbers are staggering. A successful phishing breach now costs, what, nearly $5 million on average. These tools are actively undermining the very foundation of trust we have online.
It's so easy to look at that and just conclude that humans are the weakest link, that we're just, destined to fail against these flawless AIs.
Sure, that's the narrative.
But our deep dive into some recent, really fascinating research suggests something much more optimistic.
It really does.
So our mission today is to show you that we are not helpless. And the key to a really immediate, effective digital defense is, surprisingly, very straightforward.
It boils down to minimal, targeted training, and crucially, constant, immediate feedback.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Where should we start?
Well, let's start where the deception is most visual, most immediate. Detecting fake faces.
Deep fakes.
Deep fakes, yeah. And the photorealism from models like Stylistically and 3. Researchers at the University of Reading wanted to establish a human baseline against this exact tech.
And that baseline was, frankly, a little demoralizing.
It was. The results confirm this phenomenon we call AI hyperrealism.
Okay.
Without any training, any preparation at all, typical participants, they only achieved 42% accuracy.
Wait, 42%?
42.
So that's significantly worse than flipping a coin. They were actively choosing the wrong answer more often than not.
Precisely. They weren't just bad at spotting fakes. They were actively biased toward seeing the synthetic faces as more realistic.
More realistic than real people.
More realistic, even more trustworthy than the actual photographs of real people they were shown. I mean, the AI had basically engineered faces that appealed more to our aesthetic preferences than reality itself does.
Wow. And to put that in perspective, the study even tested super recognizers, right?
That's right. These are people with exceptional, natural face recognition abilities. Sometimes they work for security agencies.
And even they struggled.
They did. This elite group, they started with a baseline of only 54% accuracy. So just barely scraping above chance.
Okay, so this seems like an impossible challenge then.
You'd think so. But what's fascinating here is that this huge challenge, it was shattered by an incredibly minimal intervention.
All right, tell us about that. How long was this training session?
5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
That's it. Researchers gave them a brief 5-minute session just pointing out the common rendering artifacts, the little telltale signs the AI leaves behind.
And these are things that we would normally just, glance over.
We subconsciously ignore them. They focused on these visual anomalies.
Can you give us some examples? Like, what specifically should you be looking for in these faces?
They're subtle, but they're consistent. We're talking about oddly rendered strands of hair that don't follow natural physics.
Okay.
Or strange, blurry details in the background where the face meets the frame.
Ah, the edges.
Yes, the transitions. And sometimes, and this one is a bit startling, a really unusual or high number of teeth in a smile.
That's a classic one.
It is. It's a visual signature that just exposes the algorithm trying to render these high-complexity details.
So what were the results after just those 5 minutes of training?
The improvement was immediate and measurable. The super recognizers, they jumped from 54% all the way up to 64% accuracy.
That's a big leap.
A huge leap. And more importantly, the typical participants, they improved substantially. They reached 51% accuracy.
They got back to chance level.
Exactly, which eliminated their prior, really dangerous tendency to assume the fakes were more real.
Yeah.
They stabilized. They were no longer actively deceiving themselves.
I think the key insight here, though, is that it wasn't just about making people more suspicious of everything they see.
That's on the money. We need to be clear about this. They weren't just guessing more or crying wolf at every single face.
Right.
The study used signal detection theory to confirm the improvement came from an increased actual sensitivity.
A better ability to discriminate.
A better ability to tell the true signal, the flaw, from the noise, which is the realistic image. And that suggests this kind of training is robust. It has real-world value for things like identity verification, not just for creating paranoia.
That's a powerful lesson. Okay, so that's faces. But AI-generated text is arguably, a much more frequent, more insidious threat.
Exponential.
Or especially in our work lives. Text targets our minds, our cognitive biases, not just our eyes. So let's shift to that. How does this training idea perform when detecting text from models like GPT-4o?
Well, this research, which was conducted with Czech native speakers, it was designed to test not just your initial capability, but the mechanism of learning.
How we learn to spot it.
Right. And they found that how often people already used LLMs, their general frequency of AI usage,
It didn't matter.
it wasn't a predictor of success at all. Experience did not equal competence.
So what did matter?
The immediate feedback loop. It was everything.
Okay.
The initial capability without any structured learning was, again, low, an average of only 55.4% correctness. So just above chance.
And with feedback.
For the group that got immediate feedback, just being told if they were right or wrong after each guess, their average success rate jumped sharply to 65.1%.
That's fascinating, but I'm wondering, why is simple feedback so devastatingly effective? If the text is that good, why doesn't just giving away the answer encourage, I don't know, random pattern matching?
Because the mechanism here isn't just about spotting a flaw from a checklist. It's about correcting a deeply ingrained, but totally flawed cognitive strategy.
A mental habit.
A mental habit. Exactly. If you don't get that correction, you just keep trying the same failed method over and over. And the researchers found the improvement continued over the whole experiment, but only for the feedback group. They were the only ones whose strategies actually evolved.
This leads us to, I think, one of the most alarming findings in that study, something that really shows the danger of just trusting your gut. The confidence catastrophe.
This is so critical. The researchers measured confidence calibration, asking people how sure they were of their answer.
Right.
And for the participants in the no feedback group, a negative correlation emerged,
Meaning?
meaning they made the most errors precisely when they felt the most confident.
Wow.
At the highest confidence level, they were often performing below chance.
So they were blindly confident in their failures. They were using strategies that felt right to them, but were just objectively wrong. They thought they'd cracked the code, but they were using a false key.
You've got it. The subtle cues they thought indicated human writing were actually artifacts of the LLM.
And the other group.
Conversely, those who got immediate feedback showed accurate confidence calibration. Feedback let them update their own internal competence meter.
So they were justifiably confident when they were right.
And they recognized when they were just guessing. Feedback fixes that dangerous disconnect between how smart you feel and how accurate you actually are.
That makes perfect sense.
I do.
So let's dive into why they were so confidently wrong. The research suggests we have these fundamental misconceptions about what AI writing even sounds like.
We absolutely do. The first major one is what they call the readability bias.
Okay, the readability bias.
The data showed that participants systematically rated the AI-written texts as more readable and clearer than the human-written ones.
Really?
Yeah, in paired comparisons, only about 30% of the human texts were perceived as being the clearer of the two.
But hold on, isn't AI often stereotyped as sounding, a bit stiff or overly formal? Why would people assume the most readable text was human? That feels counterintuitive.
It's the misjudgment. They subconsciously equated readability and clarity with competence and, well, with human authorship.
So they were thinking, this flows beautifully, it's perfectly structured, it must be a skilled human writer.
Exactly. When in reality, that smooth, flawless, highly structured flow was the AI's signature.
So if the human text was a bit more spontaneous, maybe had an occasional typo, or was less formally structured, it got flagged as AI.
Precisely. And this tendency to assume human superiority and clarity, it was especially pronounced in the no feedback group. Without that feedback, they just couldn't correct that erroneous belief.
Okay, so beyond clarity, humans also relied on strong stylistic stereotypes about the genre of the text.
Yes, the general assumption was that AI produces text that is static, prepared, highly cohesive, and polythematic.
Polythematic, what does that mean exactly?
It just means covering multiple related subjects in a really structured way. Think of a formal administrative report or a scientific abstract or some technical documentation.
Okay, so very formal, structured writing.
Right, so if an AI text matched that genre stereotype,
Yeah.
and the human text was more dynamic or spontaneous, say a human writing a quick conversational analysis, the participants would incorrectly label the human text as AI.
Because it didn't fit their mental model of a perfect prepared AI.
That's the vulnerability. And the explainable AI analysis in the cybersecurity study really drove this home with concrete linguistic cues we can actually use.
Okay, give us those actionable language differences. If I'm reading something technical, how does the vocabulary tend to differ between a human and a machine?
So human text tends toward practical, action-oriented, and often reactive language.
Okay.
In the cybersecurity data set, humans use words like use, allow, virus, and people. It's very direct language tied to immediate actions or tangible things.
Right.
The AI text, in stark contrast, consistently lean toward abstract, formal, or high-register terms. It would use words like realm, employ, serve, and establish.
So a human might say, use a strong password to allow access to people you trust.
Right. Whereas the AI might phrase it as employ robust authentication protocols to establish access within the relevant operational realm.
That distinction is incredibly illuminating.
That's a great marker.
Let's move on to context then, because it's not just our skill that matters. The length and environment of the content are huge factors.
Absolutely. The length of the text made a massive difference in machine learning classification accuracy.
How so?
Well, specialized ML algorithms achieve near-perfect accuracy. We're talking up to 100% when distinguishing between full AI and human articles.
Okay, perfect on long articles, but what about shorter texts?
But when those same models were classifying shorter paragraphs, the accuracy drops substantially, down to around 81 to 83%.
That's a colossal drop in performance. The takeaway then is that classifying shorter content is just significantly harder. The patterns aren't as developed.
And that challenge extends to the tools we use. The study compared a specialized, fine-tuned XGBoost model, which was designed just for cybersecurity paragraphs. And it achieved a respectable 77.5% accuracy. But they compared it against the generalized tool, GPT-0.
Which a lot of people use. How did it do?
GPT-0 only managed 48.5% accuracy on the exact same task.
Below chance.
Below chance. And it was prone to just classifying uncertain cases as mixed or unrecognized. The conclusion is pretty clear. A narrow, simple, fine-tuned AI system for a specific niche can drastically outperform a more complex, generalized one.
Which brings us to most immediate threat, phishing and social engineering, where the context is defined by a human under pressure.
That's the critical multitasking vulnerability. Research shows phishing detection accuracy just plummets when people are under a high working memory load.
So when they're distracted, rushing, multitasking.
We've all been there. You're trying to book a flight while replying to an urgent client email. You are mentally compromised in that moment.
So how did those simple nudges help cut through that frantic mental state?
The solution goes right back to those timely, lightweight interventions, just like with the face detection. Simple visual nudges. A colored warning banner on a suspicious email, or a pop-up saying, "Take a second look." They significantly improve detection, even under distraction.
And even those simple nudges have to be customized.
They do. The research found they were most effective for what they call gain-framed messages.
Like what?
Those tempting positive offers like, claim your free gift card now.
Ah, because those messages disarm our natural vigilance.
Exactly. The nudge snaps you back to reality. Loss-framed messages like, your account will be locked, they already trigger our natural vigilance, so the nudge provides less of a benefit there.
So the overarching pattern here across faces, text, and cybersecurity is the success of behavior-based calibration.
Absolutely. And industry data reinforces this. Adaptive phishing training dramatically reduces failure rates in companies. Some campaigns have cut failure rates by 5.5 times within a year. When organizations focus on this targeted adaptive training with immediate feedback, the human layer rapidly transforms from a weakness into arguably the most robust part of the defense.
That really wraps up our deep dive. Let's quickly summarize the core insights.
Sure. First, I'd say humans are highly trainable. We can learn to spot synthetic content, both faces and text, surprisingly fast with just a little bit of targeted training.
And second, that immediate feedback is not optional. It is absolutely essential for correcting our flawed misconceptions about AI style and fixing that pitfall of confident failure.
And finally, context matters immensely. Detection is harder for short content and when you're multitasking. And that's where we need these just-in-time nudges and specialized defense tools.
I think these findings really underscore that organizations and individuals, too, should pivot away from these broad, kind of ineffective awareness campaigns.
Right. We have to focus on targeted, behavior-based training and feedback loops to build real digital resilience. Human skills, when they're appropriately calibrated with simple practice and correction, they remain a really strong, really necessary defense against these increasingly sophisticated AI threats.
That feels like the perfect place to leave it.
Thank you for listening, and see you next time on AI Affairs.